This is my how to Unturndown video, my tutorial. I've been planning on making this for a while, I just haven't found the time. I wanted to make this tutorial because Unturndowns are honestly my favorite trick ever. I love them so much because you can do them anywhere. You can do them straight jumps, you can do them downside, you can do them upside, you can do them in backflips. You can literally do them anywhere, and they're super stylish, and getting them down is really hard, but once you have them down, they're one of the easiest tricks ever. You can bunny hop into it, you can do them anywhere, off a pump, so this is how to. For pumping into the Unturndown on a jump, I actually don't like to pump too much and pull too much. Instead, I pump just enough to get airtime and not just case the jump. But I also pull very slightly, because with the Unturndown, just like a tuck no-hander, you want your bike to be vertical. So what I tend to do is I pump very lightly, and because I'm pulling my bike into me like this, it's leaning back. If you pulled too much, you would actually loop out in midair, and I've done that a couple of times. So I pump very lightly and I pull very lightly, because when I'm in midair, I'm going to be pulling that bike into me and leaning into it, so it leans back. I don't totally want to destroy myself by looping out because I pulled too much. But it also, when you go slower, it actually keeps you and your bike in more control in midair. So it allows you to actually perform the trick very safely, and it'll get you a lot more style points. So when I started learning Unturnedowns, I actually would get onto my back with my bike on top of me and practice the movements over and over and over again. And I probably did that for about a year, which is a really long time. But after a year, I went to a jump and I got it within like 15 tries. And that's how I started to learn. But the number one part to the Unturndown is making sure that you really push the bike into the Unturndown, and then it's fully clipped. You're going to want to find a good size jump for this, a medium size to smaller. As Max Fredrickson says, if you can do it small, you can do it big. So anyways, you're going to want to find a jump that you're comfortable trying tricks on and learning. And the foot that you're going to be taking off is your front foot. So when I go up, I'm going to float my front foot when I'm in midair. So it's not going to be on the pedal 100%. Instead, it's rather going to be floating a little bit. I'm going to keep my legs locked and straight. I'm going to start twisting my hand around the grip. So it's like this. But it's going to be your opposite hand. So for me, it's my right hand. So I'm going to twist it around the grip as I'm keeping my other arm fully straight. Then I'm going to pull the bike in with that opposite arm, and you're going to let that front leg float, right? So for me, it's my left leg. And you're going to pull the bike into you like this. Now, when you're pulling the bike into you, it is extremely important that you lean that opposite shoulder, the hand that's going into the armpit, that opposite shoulder into the wheel. Because there's two things to it. Number one, if you don't lean into that wheel, you will actually start turning in midair, like rotating with your bikes to the side because of the momentum from the front wheel turning. So you want to make sure that you lean into it, but they are also bending at the waist. So I'm keeping my legs straight like this, and I'm leaning over and in. So you're kind of like dipping that shoulder in. And what that allows you to do is it allows your bar to come in near your waist because it's bending at the waist. But then it also allows your tire to touch your shoulder, and that's why I have some scars on my shoulder from the tire. But it's extremely important to just make sure that you lean into that front wheel. The other thing I like to do when doing Unturnedowns is I like to have my hand, when I'm rotating it, closer to the end of the grip. So like this. What that allows me to do is when it's coming through my waist, like this, the grip doesn't snag on my shirt when coming back out like this. Instead, it grabs my hand and it slides through. So just to replicate, you're gonna go up the jump, you're gonna let that front foot float a little bit, you're gonna kind of twist it out, and then you're gonna lean into the bike in the front like this. To get out of the Unturndown, you just do the opposite of everything else. When you're in it, you pull out, and you let your foot land on the pedal, and you make sure to nose down into the landing. Some of the main problems that I dealt with when learning the Unturndown that I was never able to fix until later in learning was that foot movement and taking the foot off. Because what a lot of people tend to do is that they take their foot off intentionally like this, and it looks really bad and it doesn't really look clean and stylish. And so over time I just practiced letting my foot float in midair like this. It's not stuck to the pedal, it might be resting on the pedal a little bit, but it's floating. So then I can actually pull into the Unturndown. Another two issues that I dealt with when learning the Unturndown was that I would always keep my legs bent. And what that would do to my Unturndown is it would make it look messy, not very clean and stylish. And so to fix that, I would just make sure that my legs are really straight, but also that I'm bending at the waist, because sometimes if you don't bend at the waist, your legs are going to be bent because the bike has to go through some way. And so keeping your legs straight and bending at the waist allows your bike and your legs to be straight. But another issue that I dealt with was not getting it clicked enough. You know, the bike would show up like right here, it wouldn't fully touch my shoulder. And it's gonna touch your shoulder if it's clicked. Either the fork leg will, like the stanchion, or the tire will. And so for me to get that extra style point, I would actually push even harder. And sometimes that isn't just pushing with that hand, it's also pushing with the other hand, so like this. And that really gets it clicked. But you want to make sure that that hand that you're pushing with is super loose around the grip. I actually sometimes lift my hand up like this, and I keep my pointer finger, my index finger, and my thumb really tight. What that allows me to do is allows me to turn it and push very lightly, and there's not much restriction, I guess, around your hand. Instead, it's very light and easy to turn. That is the end of my how to Unturndown tutorial.